Hey friends, Christy and the turkeys here with Little Roots Ranch. And today we're coming to you from the greenhouse. Today it's actually chilly out, which is interesting. Today's, I believe, May 21st. So basically the late end of May. And this video is kind of to put a little tickler in your mind about thinking about the fall and winter garden. Now, hi boys. Yeah, they hear you. They comment about you all the time. Somebody needs their own YouTube channel. No, I'm kidding. So you might be thinking, why am I talking about the fall and winter garden when we haven't even gotten into summer yet? And the reason is because it is right around the corner. Now, for me on the farm, I find that up until June is the craziest time. Like pretty much March through the end of May, beginning of June, because a lot of things that I start are for all of my gardens. So real quick vocabulary thing. So when I say summer garden, fall garden, winter garden, that's not necessarily what you're planting, that's what you're harvesting or what's in the garden. So like tomatoes would be a part of the summer garden, but we're not seeding tomatoes in the summer. Those are obviously, in the spring. And so when I talk about the fall and especially winter garden, you're not necessarily seeding things in the fall and winter for the most part, of course, and depending on your determination and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that's talking about. So even though we haven't even gotten into summer, the thing is that we're right around the corner from preparing for our fall and winter and overwintering garden, if that's something you're into. And so, like I said, this video, it's a short video. I just want to put a tickler and give like a few loose rule of thumbs so you can put in your toolbox. And I'll also do videos in the actual months when the action is taking place. So this is kind of looking ahead, right? And so your 3 key months are going to be June. I know that's like not that long away. July and August. And again, these are rule of thumbs, depends on your microclimate, your sun exposure, if you have a greenhouse or not, your setup, your interests, whatever. But if I were to, again, just loosest rule of thumb, the best thing that I have always lived by is that in June, that is when, for the most part, you are seeding for your fall garden. So that means like cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, things like the carrots, things like that. When you plant them in June, on an average year, those will be ready during the fall, which is excellent. July's the next month. Even though it's only a month difference, it really does make a difference. When you get into July, you are talking about your wintering or your winter and overwintering garden. And so those are two different things, obviously. When you think about the winter garden, when you harvest in the dead of winter, that crop is already to scale. So if I were thinking of cabbage, for instance, my cabbage is full-sized and holding in the field, which means that it would technically have been ripe in the fall, and then the sun hours are reducing and all that stuff, and so it kind of just holds. And so I'm harvesting. There isn't necessarily growth in the winter. Overwintering is the opposite. You actually want to go in to the colder season when the days are getting shorter, temperatures are getting colder, with like 2 to 4 sets of true leaves. And then the plants just kind of hibernate. The smaller they are, the better. Believe it or not, I think most people think you want a larger plant. No, you want a smaller plant. And they kind of hibernate over the winter, and then right as spring comes, days start getting a little longer, temperature starts warming up just a teeny bit, then that's when they explode, right? And so July is kind of that target for the winter garden, right? And then September is important because that's kind of your fall and winter, but with faster growing items. So that would be like your radishes or your hackberry turnips, all your greens, things like that, things that don't necessarily, like you can pick off of kale and enjoy kale for a long period of time. But with a cauliflower, it puts up the cauliflower and you have to harvest that pretty quickly. You cannot wait on that. You will come back to a lot of flowers if you do. And so that's kind of and there are some exceptions, of course. If you plant lettuce in June, obviously they will not take until, September or October, November to be ready. And Brussels sprouts, for instance, are, to my understanding, thinking quickly, I believe Brussels sprouts are, aside from like pumpkins or whatever, Brussels sprouts are the longest days to maturity, DTM, of any of the items. And so those you'll have to take special care of as far as planning it into where you want it to be, what's your target harvest time, or where do you want it to be going into the winter, which is really small. A side note to all of that, yes, they're so cute. Sorry, I love my turkeys. A side note to all of that is, and this is kind of more of an advanced gardening concept, is once you get familiar with growing different types of vegetables and you feel comfortable, another thing that like farmers do and stuff like that is they never have like just one, or generally don't have just one type of seed, because the needs when you look at a season are different. So if I am doing cabbage in the early spring, I want an early variety. Now, every single thing, every good comes with a bad, right? That's like a staple in life. So if I get a quick early maturing cabbage so I can get it to market sooner, so we're looking at like maybe 60 days as opposed to like 75 or something like that. If I can get a quick growing cabbage, that's awesome. But you know what? It's going to be so prone to bolting, and it's going to be really hard when to take, not impossible, but it's a little more difficult to get that quick growing cabbage to overwinter. It's usually it's developed to start and grow strong in the cold weather, whereas like an overwintering cabbage, which usually they'll have names like, I think with cauliflower, like one's like Ice King or Cold something, like the name is usually like early something or cold something, like and the description should, if any reputable seed house should talk about whether early season, mid-season, all season, late season, great for overwintering, any of the descriptive words, things like that. But so gardening 2.0 would be getting an early or a fast cabbage in the spring, and then a different variety of a hardy or overwintering one for your fall. Now, can you use them interchangeably? Yes. There's no, in the spring you'll wait longer. There are drawbacks. Like I think I mentioned, the quick ones, they're more susceptible to bolting and things like that. Like obviously they've been pushed to produce earlier, things like that. But getting out of all of that stuff, again, the purpose of this video is just to kind of give you like a little tickler to keep in mind that if that's something that you're wanting to do, have continuous harvests into the fall, into the winter, overwintering, just to kind of have that in your mind, because we don't sow the seeds in like October, November, things like that doesn't happen. It's June when you're not even thinking about it, and July, and then of course your greens into August. So just have that in your mind. And of course in June and July and August, I'll do videos about the fall, winter, and overwintering garden. But just keep that in your mind. Let me check my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Nope, I think I got everything. I hope my turkeys haven't been too bothersome. But thank you for watching. And if you have any questions or whatnot, go ahead and drop those down below. And as far as this specific topic, I will have, like I said, a video in June and July. Thank you for watching. Bye.